Oh, and it's the Red Pill News, and it is on tonight. And you are here with me, Red Pill News. I'll tell you this. There's a story I want to read that kind of spells it out for every male that's out there who is thinking about marriage. And marriage is an institution, and the people that partake in it should be institutionalized. It's a bad deal, is what it is. I know that, people get all, pussy drunk, and they're like, oh, I've got to get married right away. And there's really no guy that's running around saying, I have to get married right now. It's more like the woman's, when are we going to get married? When are we going to get married? There's immense pressure on the dude, especially if there's others around who were married. It's like a cult, as it were, really. And what it is, it's financial security for that person, whether they love you or not. It's financial security for that person, unless you have like no job. You're the guy who's going in and out of jail or whatever your deal is. There's also that segment of society, but usually those guys go around making babies with all kinds of, and then those women have those babies and they look for some kind of blue pill dude who's going to just take care of them. And there's a lot of people out there that have sought out marital relationships that have been disingenuous in their intentions. So, which leads me to this story. And it's going to be a banging show tonight, so you don't have to listen. Groom to be reconsiders wedding after discovering fiance's awful plan. So many red flags. So, a groom to be postponed his wedding after his fiance's unsettling behavior. He shared what happened while they were wedding planning on Reddit's I guess asshole forum. I don't do Reddit. Before they met, his fiance was engaged. Before they met, his fiance was engaged. Okay, she's like habitual marrying type. you know that's the first red flag right there. You really want to be with someone who's jumping from one. I mean, if she was so serious about being married to somebody, she must have been so in love with that person, and they were so in love with her that all of a sudden they're broken up, and then bang, she's looking to get married again, looking for another fiance. First red flag. Obviously, the woman just wants to get married and probably doesn't really care about who necessarily. Okay, but the fiance was engaged, but her partner. Here we go. She rarely spoke of her ex, but when it came to picking a wedding date, the Reddit poster was horrified that she chose the same date she was going to use previously. We didn't have any issues until my fiance and I started planning for our wedding. She suggested a specific date, and I had several reasons not to agree. One of them is that my mom is recovering from a major surgery, and since she's my remaining family, I want her to be there. But you see, this woman wouldn't care about that. People like this don't care about you and your thing. You're a utility. They just see you as something tangible as they can use, like a garden tool or something, man. His fiance kept insisting and refused to compromise. Right? The guy wants his mom at the wedding. At least he could do is get something out of it, right? And then he was surprised when his brother-in-law contacted him, saying that his sister has been sending out invitations with the date that she picked. So she never stopped. She never even paused. It was what she wanted, right? It's that selfishness. It's that narcissistic attitude, man. He then told me the reason his sister insisted on a specific date was because that was the day that she was going to get married to the last one. But that didn't happen. He confronted his fiance, But that didn't seem to change much. She defended herself, saying that she didn't think it'd matter if he knew this is the date, and then when she said well, that's when her fiance were getting married, whatever. He said it matters to me, and she shouldn't send out invitations without even telling me. I ended up sending everyone who received an invitation an email stating that the wedding is officially postponed. I didn't give the real reason why, but I did apologize. She let everyone know, and everyone has been criticizing my stance, calling me ridiculous and inconsiderate to postpone for a pathetic reason like that. What's pathetic reason? Well, because his mom, he wants his mom to be there. His mom's in the hospital, right? So of course, like this woman drags it. They're on social media, airing out their dirty laundry, and then every idiot with no life is going to be reading this thing and making comments. I do it. I'm more of a troll though, or a sniper. It's not really. I just kind of like sitting back and watching the destruction I cause on social media. That's more my end of it. But one person said, cancel the wedding. She's simply awful. Oh, that was me. It's your wedding just as much as it is hers. Another one said, there are so many red flags here. A third person wrote, that's probably his mom from the hospital bed. Like, she's a bitch. Son, I brought you up better than that. You idiot. So it really is. That's the end of the story, actually. It didn't last long, did it? It really is. It's an instance of selfishness that exists in this universe that a lot of women have these days, and the old school strong feminine, it seems like it's faded away into this me generation of just narcissistic people, just hanging on your heels, wanting you to perform like a monkey while they sit back and laugh, and then basically have it easy. So I don't know. I watched a show called The Office, right? And it's cool background noise, when it's on. So I like the characters, and it's something I even really pay attention to as much as more like a background. So you put it on when I'm working, so I can kind of like be in the office, right? But it really centers on this couple, Jim and Pam, right? And they go through the throes of, and she was engaged to a dude who worked for the same company this other guy worked for. If you step back and take a red pill and look at that show, and all the things that, this guy Jim, like a total simp, and he basically sacrificed everything that was important to him, no matter what, for this girl. And why? If you get to get a relationship with someone, you shouldn't have to be sacrificing anything like that you hold important to yourself, because they take things away from you. I was just telling my one of my sisters a story about my friend Diego, right? A guy that Southern California, Chicano, man, moved upstate New York. He met this girl, fell in love, moved to a town called Aurora, middle of freaking nowhere, right in the middle of the lake, Lake Cayuga Lake. Beautiful town, beautiful lake, that type of thing. In the season, when it's nice, the weather's cooperative, But in the same sense, it turns into a treacherous, unbelievably scary, icy, snowy, horrible journey if you have to drive from in Ithaca, New York to Aurora, which is a 45-minute ride when it's dry. Now, then you got to think about the deer that jump in front of you constantly and other road hazards, rednecks, pickup trucks and all that. Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. So, but this dude, it was like his first year driving in the snow, and I had a little antique store, and it was more of a place where everybody like hung out. It belonged to my friend Jeff, and he left town. It was a hangout for everybody, and I felt bad the place was closed, so I reopened it, threw some antiques in there, and we all hung out. So it was like just to hang out for artistically minded people who like want to chill, right? And I sold antiques out of the place. And so that was the halfway point for this dude. So this guy Diego got a job as a mechanic for Chrysler down in Ithaca, and then he had to drive that 45 minutes each way every day, man, through no man's land. There's really not much. Once you get past like where my antique store was, there was nothing. You weren't going to see a gas station. You weren't going to see anything. It's just nothingness up as you're going up the lake, and and so it's on a ridge, especially. So when winter set in, and it was, of course, it was incredibly cold winter that year, and a lot of snow, really blowing, sideways, 10 below, 15, 20 below zero. So for a little Chicano guy who's used to riding his lowrider chopper, man, through getting tacos. That's his stories. I used to love hearing that because it sounds so cool to ride down to the beach on your motorcycle and you get some tacos with your friends, and that's living, man. That's when he was having a good time. He got married and life was over. Life is over. Your fun is over. That's what they should say. When people get married, the fun is over. Just put a big fucking sign up. The fun is over. Keep in mind, I've never been married, but I've been in long-term relationships that were as dogmatic as marriage. Not as contractually confining, but dogmatic, right? So this dude would stop at my place, and he always knew, hey man, always had good coffee, I had espresso in there, other things too around, and they were just chilling. He knew he'd come in, hang out. Right? He bought antiques. He and his wife bought antiques for me. I gave him unbelievable deals on stuff because I knew they were trying. He had a big Victorian they got, and they're trying to fill it full of furniture. And he was busy doing plumbing on there, electric. I mean, all around guy. I mean, the guy like did all this cool stuff, and he was an artist. He was taking local wood from barns and repurposing and making them into lamps. He made beautiful stained glass. So I mean, the guy had many talents, man. But falling into an unbelievable depression on mainly the area and also his relationship. He said she changed, like from a woman that he met. I'm like, she met you in Southern California when you were at the peak of your coolness. Then now you have transformed into the person that she made you transform into, really. And it really came down to you're not you anymore. You've got to adapt and overcome to this new environment, and kind of move into an area that may not be fitting to your personality, we'll say. So I supported the guy. I liked him. Great dude. And I let him sell his lamps in my store, that type of stuff. And just really cool guy. It was better for me because they were really cool looking, and I liked what the guy did. But his relationship was getting worse and worse and worse. The girl wasn't working; he was the one working. Driving, doing that, and going back and forth, and trying to come up with gigs to make stained glass. He made the stained glass at the Aurora Inn, man. Nice choice inn right on the side of the lake in Aurora. Beautiful place, right? And then she made him sell his motorcycle, man. I remember that. It was like it even hurt me, and it wasn't even mine. He carried pictures around of the thing, like not even on his phone. I'm talking about like pictures. A dude is proud when he's got pictures of his motorcycle in his pocket. Like, this is my baby. So that's the kiss of death. She made a decision. We don't need this anymore. We can use the money. Keep in mind, selling a motorcycle like that, he got almost nothing for it because of the area. This isn't really the type of place. I mean, like, sure, you can ride motorcycles all summer long on these country roads. It's really cool. But for a custom bike like that, that's more, you got to be more of a city-ish type of person to really have that kind of dosh to spend on a bike, And Southern California or Las Vegas, a beautiful place for because that's some kind of, it's a glitzy type of lowrider chopper, man. It's just not some run-of-the-mill thing. But it was more of a statement against him and his last connection to Southern California. If anything, if the girl had any goddamn brain at all, she would have said, hey, let's just keep it and we'll take it out. It was a one seater too. It didn't have two. Couldn't handle an extra person on there, which is probably why she felt that she was in some kind of competition. Women get into weird competitions with things, objects, and people. They'll get into competitions with the people you love the most, your family members, your mom, even your cat or your dog, or even their kids. Even if you raise their kids, they will be in competition with their own kids. And tell me that I'm wrong, because I am not wrong. So the deal is, you need to be complete before you go into a relationship. You need to take the red pill and then see things for how they are, and not have to compromise what you love and care about in your life. That person should accept those things because they fell in love with you, or did they? Did they fall in love with you, or did they fall in love with an idea of you, or just what you can do for them? More like, what can you do for me mentality, right? So it's frustrating to think about how many people out there. I read a story last week with Brad Pitt, right? This dude has had sexual relationships with every crazy woman in Hollywood. He deserves some kind of trophy or an award, or I don't know. I know they have like the big Golden Globes. Maybe he gets some Golden Globes, two of them, for withstanding people who have not just crazy. To become an actor, you have to have an ego about you to begin with, right? Safe to say, if you're scared of your own shadow, if you're not the kind of person that's going to go out, you're not going to make it in show business. No one's going to put it there in your lap necessarily, right? So automatically, you know that these people have huge egos. Then they are very attractive women, so people will do or say anything for them to placate them or whatever they want or need. They've never been told no, not ever. They are not the type of people that responds to no. Their entire life has been yes, yes. What can I do for you? Yes. You see it on Facebook, even with the unsightly. And I'm not being mean. I mean, you know what? It's just truthful. But you see it because they want attention. The people that will put, the girls who will put, 'cause I don't see guys do this really. I see women do this all the time. Is take selfies nonstop. Just put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up. It's almost to the point where you can't even look at your Facebook without seeing their face, 40 times a day. And then you just have to let it go. Okay, you've got a problem, obviously, and it's not my problem. So I'm going to, they can let you snooze the person or whatever. But it's not even like a phase people go through, because the same people are the same ones who do it all the time. And but then you're always going to have these guys. You're beautiful. You're so sexy. Oh my God. And I guess that's their need, but it's fake. It's all fake. It's not real. The attention is not real. It's a simulated electronic thing. It's not real. And these people aren't real. And they're using filters on themselves that make them not look real. And this is the world that we have spiraled into, if you allow it to affect you negatively. And you've got to understand, the last person you'd ever want to be in a relationship with is one of those women. The last person. If you want, the best women aren't even on Facebook. They're not even in social media. They'll be the ones saying, "Oh, that stuff is so stupid. I don't use it." And you feel safe because then they can't see what you're doing on there. You're safe. That dude at the baseball game, the referee's safe. They don't see you making comments to those other idiots making duck lips. but isn't that the thing? You know, it's a distraction. It's a carnival, and people have always loved a freak show in the carnival, always, since time began. right? Which is really not an admiration of oddity, but instead it's more of a degeneration of society, of looking at other people who are different and judging them in that way or calling them a freak to begin with. Yeah, I said that. I went there. That's right. Because there's too much of that. And it exists all the time. It exists in all these woke groups. If you notice, they are in a group. you know, they exclude others because of their woke reasons. It's very funny to see people with such egotistical issues, man. You know, and it's disgusting at the same time. It really is. I know that you guys look at this world sometimes and are just like disgusted, and it's just life isn't fair and it's not going to be fair. Yeah, it can be fair for you if you know how to function and operate and move around. If you don't get caught up in other people's BS, because you got your own problems. You don't need more problems. You don't need to be like poor Diego, stuck Chicano, stuck in 15 below zero weather with no motorcycle. With a woman who turned on him and started acting like, I mean, her whole attitude, she would even come into the antique store here and there, like to kind of spy on us to see what we were doing. she, she would, she, because they would come in as a couple, like to look at the different stuff I had. And I had a really cool Cleopatra bed, man. Awesome, awesome. And it had been, the wood wasn't resurfaced, but the cushion part was beautiful, man. It was restored perfectly. And I didn't, you know what? I saw it in their home. I imagined it in their home, and I basically sold it to them what I paid for it. I didn't make any money on the deal, but I didn't care. It was more about placing the thing. I only had it in the shop for a day, so it kind of just came and went. Didn't take up too much real estate, and I got my money back on it at least. But damn, there's a right time and place for everything. But she was kind of like looking around. So you guys hang out here, huh? Yeah. It wasn't like we were sitting there watching porno, or whatever. There was a restaurant next door that, my friend's ex-wife owned, which made things very awkward because she knew that I was still very good friends with her ex-husband, and they had a really terrible, very bitter, horrible divorce. And I was renting out the space from her, really. So, but like, it's just you feel the energy. It was like I used to go to this barber shop, right? All guys, two old guys, Joe and Joe, both of them named Joe, who cut hair, and it didn't matter who you went to. When you first come, first serve, you sit down, and it wasn't a daunting thing waiting for your turn because these guys were funny and they told inappropriate jokes and everyone would be laughing, and we had the TV on with the news and commenting on stuff, and a bunch of guys being guys. They had all this man memorabilia hanging around, not just barber stuff but other stuff leading back to man memorabilia. It was like a man cave, getting your hair cut in a man cave. Awesome experience, man. Right? I was there one day waiting my turn, and this guy comes in like a college student with his girl, and then everybody clammed up like the like you know in the Little Rascals, the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Everybody clammed up, zip, and nobody was telling funny jokes. No, and this was the reaction. This girl's like, I always wanted to see what went on in here. She said exactly that to her little effeminate boyfriend. He's like, well, yeah, just the guys. Maybe I'll come and get my hair cut here. Yeah. Yep. But see, you have to let people be. And everybody needs their own space. A guy needs his space, a woman needs her space. Kids need their space, right? Sometimes kids just want to go out in the yard and play with a stick and just be a kid. Be a kid, But in this world, they don't allow you to. And it's a very weird world. You know how weird it is? This is how weird it is. Queen Elizabeth honors huge sex toy company for their outstanding growth. Right? Here she is. Nice big smile. And what do you have anyway when you get older? I mean, really, when once you've passed the point of no return sexually, what's there? It's a scary world. I know that there's all kinds of pills people can take. I'm 54. I don't need any of that stuff at this point, but I know that they're there. I have no problem taking pills like that, Viagra or whatever. I don't care, man. I'll rattle like a pillbox when I walk, as long as I can function properly. Look, I'll be on every damn pill there is. Look at that old man. He's bugging out. He's horny, bugging. I'll be like, yeah, ba boom. But sex toys. I know there are a lot of these like man groups that are very anti-female, and I'm not, man. I love women. I mean, I can't imagine anybody being anti-women because it's so unnatural. Even doesn't even work for priests. You get it? It's very unnatural and weird. But you don't let people control you. I mean, if you can't handle that, then obviously you got a freaking problem. Or you need to find someone who's not looking to control you. Blah 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 blah. But whatever. But sex toys. So a lot of these guys think these female sex robots are going to be all beat all. And I see these guys on the news once in a while, like at a restaurant with their silicone sex toy. It's such a weird, creepy thing to see. And those guys are equally weird and creepy. Just the fact that a guy is sitting there with his sex toy is weird in a restaurant. You're trying to eat your steak. This guy's fondling the sex toy booby, or try to give her a drink. Here, drink, honey. Oh, you made such a mess down your shirt. Let me clean you up. I would leave because I think that the guy would be like whipping out a gun any minute and start shooting. Those are the people that kind of will be pushed over, and then you see him in the news killing a bunch of people, right? So, but I think once you get to a certain age, you still like some good vibrations. Why not, right? And the Queen is no different. So, the sex toy company has the crown jewels, also Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth likely set herself up for some risque memes after bestowing the UK's biggest sex toy company with one of the nation's top honors. Sexcessory purveyor Love Honey received the Queen's Award for Enterprise QAFE, Queef, for continuous outstanding growth. And after their overseas sales skyrocketed to the Americans during the COVID-19 crisis from over £16 million to £80 million, we are thrilled to have received official recognition from the Queen, gushed Debbie Bond, Chief Commercial Officer for the firm, which sells vibrators, ball gags, strap-ons, and other hanky-panky enhancers fit for all appetites and orientations, per their site. Her Majesty has been a wonderful supporter of Love Honey, and we have grown into being the world's leading sexual wellness brand, Bond said. So, already you're thinking, your mind's in the gutter, that the Queen of England has hopped on for a ride, and boom, that's what she's got. That she supports. She's the Queen, supporting a very important business, apparently, in England that sells worldwide, right? And that business is growing. It's getting harder to do business, in certain circumstances. So I think the Queen did the right thing here, right? And really, you saw her husband; he just died. He wasn't going to take care of any royal business. You know what I mean? And the Queen, what is she? 115, 116? No one's going there. Nature protects that. Nature protects her. No one's going there. No one wants to go there because I don't know. We don't have that much time, do we? Yeah, we might. We probably do. All right. We probably do. The royal stamp of approval isn't merely figurative. Her Highness blessing, described as the highest accolade for business success. This will allow Love Honey to employ the queef emblem in advertising and marketing on their package for 5 years, reported the Daily Express. So, yes, Brits will see the crown insignia adorning their dildos and their vibrators in the near future. Bond said she hopes that the royal patronage will help pleasure purveyor create more jobs, spreading the sexual happiness message globally. And here's a picture. They've got some, what is that, like a butt plug, little paddle. I don't know. That paddle looks awfully cushiony, man. I think this is for lightweights. Oh, look, like the blindfold is like lace. Nothing that screams Royal Highness, though. You know what I mean? You would think there'd be some jewel, gold encrusted something. When I think sex toys and Royal Highness, and it's a very difficult thing to think about. It's really freaking difficult to think about it. But when I do think about it, I think there should be some jewels involved. You know? What do you think about Harry and Meghan? He's got to be using something on himself. She's definitely an out in the cold type of person. Come on, please, honey. Leave me alone. Your family's racist. I don't want to have sex with you anymore just to make babies. Give me your credit card. But honey, you see they found a dead body by their compound in Malibu Barbie Ranch in California. But they said it was an old decomposed body. So yeah, that makes it so much better. Okay. Currently, the Dildo Depot boasts 2.2 million people who are customers with websites in 8 other countries, including the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, plus EU countries, including France, Germany, and Spain. Their global profile got a major bump after they were gifted official rights to make pleasure products inspired by X-rated book series 50 Shades of Grey. This isn't the first time that Love Honey has received royal recognition. In 2015, according to the Express, the company also won the Queen's blessing for boosting British exports. She's shipping out dildo after dildo, does so much for the UK. It is a dildo deluge. After which Love Honey founders Richard Longhurst and Neil Slateford celebrated with Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip at Buckingham Palace. How weird is that? Here's the Queen, and he wasn't the king. I don't even get how that crap works. You think he'd be the king, whatever he was. The Queen and her cuck invite the two dudes who start this huge dildo company to the palace, like even Oprah couldn't get in, right? Like isn't that why she's mad? No, Oprah's mad. She's like, you let the dildo guys in there. You don't let me in there. Well, the dildo guys do something for her. What's Oprah do for anybody? Oprah gives you the sensation that you got screwed, but there was no dildo involved, actually. So, anyway, at Buckingham Palace. Interesting. Bond wrote, James Bond, of course, the Queen is the UK's greatest trade ambassador, and royal approval shows again how mainstream shoppers and retail outlets have embraced sexual wellness products, including the Queen. As never before, and appreciating their importance in improving overall well-being. It's all about well-being, right? A particularly important message as we come out of lockdown after a stressful year living with the pandemic. And that's pretty much people are that's when the whole sex toy thing exploded in their faces. And I just think it's cool. I'm just wondering when Joe Biden is going to come out and start endorsing American dildo companies, man, because they actually look like him, which is very interesting, Oddly so. I don't know if that was necessarily intended, but they do, right? And of course, his son Hunter, he can endorse all kinds of things from Parmesan cheese all the way up to whatever, man. Hunter Thompson was out. No, Hunter Thompson. Hunter Biden. Got Hunter Thompson on my brain. Hunter Biden was out there bragging he smoked crack with Marion Barry. And all the bad stuff people said about Trump, he's definitely a douche. But all these bad things, there's a whole area that was never invaded by Trump or his family. That seedy, druggy, smoking crack with the mayor of D.C. side, and I just wonder if the Democrats are proud of that. I don't think they care. I think they're just happy to have Trump out. I mean, he ain't gone; he's just out, and it doesn't matter really who's in or out necessarily at this point because the system is the way it is. I saw how Obama said that Biden is finishing the job that Obama started. And I was like, oh, destroying the country. Yep. Yeah. The apocalypse. Of course, man. Go out. You know what? I've been out and about. People aren't wearing their masks. They think COVID's over. From Fauci saying that vaccinated people didn't have to wear their masks in public if they didn't want to. That message caused a whole different thing. Now people are going into stores not wearing masks. So, and these aren't the vaccinated type of people, believe me when he said. And it's an attitude about them. You have the Indian variant. In case you're wondering, last week the variant was 1% of all new infections in the U.S. Now it's 11% of all new infections, 1 to 11% within a week's time. So people taking their masks off, they're not social distancing, they think it's all over. At the same time, they're also not getting the vaccine because they think they don't have to. And then, you see in the news, like, if you watch CNN or any of those, it's not news, don't forget, whatever. They say 289 million Americans have been vaccinated. It's actually 200. You have to, actually, it's worded differently. They've given out 289 million shots in America. And much of those shots were double doses. So really it's about a third of the people in the country. 32 million people have tested positive for COVID-19. Now to fight this new variant, and then the new variant, they changed the name from the Indian variant to the Delta variant, and now there's also a Beta variant. So I guess they're going to have all these names: Delta, Beta, Gamma, Alpha, whatever, right? And there's a new one that's more infectious, but we're talking about 70% more infectious. It's more deadly. It's more dangerous in every way. And at the same time, people are going out, partying, going to clubs and whatever. And, in the back of my mind, I know that there are people, unscrupulous people in power that really love the emergency use powers that they had received from the pandemic, where they were able in their state to do whatever they want, like Cuomo. Cuomo killed tens of thousands of people by sending sick people into nursing homes and lied about it repeatedly. I watched him do it. Then he said he lied to protect the truth. I love that line, man. Forever I'm going to remember that line. I lied to protect the truth. Well, what is the truth, sir? Oh, I can't tell you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just, I can't tell you. You can't handle it, man. You can't handle the truth. That's why I lied. So I give it 5 weeks, a little less. It takes us to the 4th of July-ish, around there. But I gave it 5 weeks for everything to completely unravel with the new variant. The new variant, the vaccines aren't so good against it. It seems like the Moderna has proved most effective, but that's all the way down to the 60s. maybe 60%, maybe less. And also, this is from petri dishes, man. You don't really know until it's in the person and in the situation, for good, for bad. You just don't know. But all this while we're kind of muddling through. That's why I thought it was excellent for the Queen to, give her endorsement to her own personal dildo. I think, because you got to take that kind of news and say, damn, I wish I lived in England. Damn. Just kidding. Just kidding. I had thought about it, man. I thought about going to England and cruising the canals in a narrow boat and kind of like making that my life. But English food makes me want to yak, and I do like the people, though. The people are awesome. The weather there. Anyway, but England will pay you $40,000 to explore 50 miles of historic pubs. Now you think, Michael, that's crazy. No one's going to pay me $40,000. What if that's 40,000 pounds? 40,000 pounds, which is better than dollars, to explore 50 miles of pubs? So everyone out there who's like holding a beer has to listen to this, man. Lincolnshire is looking for a researcher to document the history of its public houses. So they're not looking to pay everybody. See, the headline is deceptive. Deceptive. UK County will pay you 40,000. Deceptive. Look at this pub. I do love the architecture there and the history. Really cool stuff, man. Brits can take their watering holes very seriously. I was once scolded for asking how long a pub crawl would be. This is a heritage walk. Our guide scoffed as he ushered us into our third pub. That was probably at my fifth pint. He wasn't joking. Entire groups are dedicated to documenting and maintaining the history of British pubs, the kind of thing that happens when many of these establishments predate the entire history of the United States, because they've been drinking for a long time there, man. And these positions can be very serious, including one currently hiring that pays up to $40,000 a year. So you could possibly get a job and make 40 grand drinking. How's that? What a country. The Lincolnshire, don't worry, I'm sure here in America there's some kind of grant for people to drink, and I'm sure there is. If there's a grant to study how many bananas a monkey eats in a year, then there's a grant for everything. And there is a grant for that. The Lincolnshire City Council has recently posted a job listing for a heritage project officer. If you're noticing a pattern in how Brits use the term heritage, you're probably not entirely wrong. The ideal candidate will be enthusiastic and creative, which shouldn't be too hard, seeing as a one-year gig will require researching and recording the architectural and social history of public houses along a 50-mile stretch of the Lincolnshire coast and Grimsby to Boston. All right. Let me see. And popped up from my face, man. The council says this new Inns of the Edge project is urgently needed to enhance the local historic environment records, raise awareness in response to the threat of pub closures, and help the hospitality sector recover from the pandemic. And it's actually being funded by the UK government through Historic England. So if you guys want, man, sign up. By now, you're probably realizing the job is far from 52 weeks of drinking. In fact, the words beer, ale, pint, and drink are all missing from the posting. And lager is definitely not included. But the English are nothing if not reserved, meaning the description is laced with plenty of subtle signs. Among other abilities, the project officer must be able to promote and celebrate these pubs and be a confident communicator, able able to inspire and enthuse different types of audiences. You see, that's not your average beer drinking American right there. So you have to exclude a whole bunch of people from that, including people who might not traditionally engage with heritage. Candidates must also have a good understanding of the social and economic role of the public houses. Good luck trying to get all that in a library unless it's the library, which, according to Pubs Galore, is in the name of about a half dozen British pubs. Hey man, you gotta have your libraries and pubs. Yeah, you watch Harry Potter. Those guys used to go to that little pub, and the kids there drinking their sodas, older people there drinking their pints, man. They had like books and whatever. That's cool. I love a British pub, man. I have to say, love a British pub, really. The job offers a competitive salary. Ugh. So it really is 36,000 to 40,000 American, man. Not enough money, really, for something like that. Unless they're gonna give you places to live and all that other thing as you're going along. You can live in a pub along with a pension. That's not bad. I got my pension from drinking ale. 50 miles. I don't remember a goddamn thing. A comprehensive benefits package including excellent discount schemes, cycle to work, civil service, sports council membership, and many areas for professional support and development. You know, you gotta watch those contracts, man, especially if they say, and we'll be giving you shelter in a cardboard box at the edge of town. They're like, well, yeah, cardboard box. I don't like the sound of that. It's a good cardboard box. It was Maytag refrigerator, a very nice size. An ice maker was in there. You'll love it. Watch out for the werewolves, by the way. They hang around pubs too. Also noted in the listing, this job is a pilot project with the intention of informing future projects in other parts of the country and elsewhere in England. So whoever gets this gig, don't screw it up. A lot of people in the heritage industry are counting on you. You see, now in America, we have people on YouTube doing that for free. I just watched this dude and his dad drive Route 66. And they went from California to Chicago. Really cool, man. They had a great time. It's a journey going through the desert like that or whatever, and ending up in a city like Chicago. Really cool stuff, man. So, but people go up there. They got YouTube. They got over 6 million, 7 million views on there, whatever. That's what people do. Paying someone 40K to do the heritage thing. I get what they want. That sounds like a lot of work for no money, and it sounds like they can suck the life out of it really well too, man. I'm not much of a drinker at all, so like with me, I'd be sipping on some whiskey, scotch, or something like that. I'm sure those pubs have their fill of all that, man. But if you have the want, you can do it. There's all kinds of alternatives, man. You'd be surprised, like for people that are willing to relocate. I know they have this deal in Nova Scotia where they were giving people homes and relocating them and helping them find jobs. There are places, like that that are really they need the people, and they need families. They need kids to send to their schools. They need taxes. So they're struggling. Same for the Dakotas. I see how they're offering free land and help you build and do all that, and give you, like, you'd have to pay like the state the mortgage and whatever to populate these towns. And people migrate, they move around, and because of major industry, really, it's like that. It used to be you had to move to the place to get the job. Now a lot of jobs are autonomous. So it's, if you can live. I mean, I work through the internet. If you can live anywhere you want, it's really more about the best bang for the buck for the stuff that you love and want. I've been asking myself the same question since my mom passed away, you know, back in April, and just, where do you go? What do you do? You know what I mean? Like, it's weird, And then I think you go where you're happy. You go where you feel good. And I'll tell you, there's a few places out there that I have that feeling about, and it's just interesting, But also, it's about uprooting and moving out and doing a whole thing and going to it's easy to do when you're young. When you get a little older, it's harder. But I think that no matter what your life is, I mean, we all have our problems, every last one of you, including me. We just have to work through them, and you have the people around you that love you, that want to see you do well. You don't listen to your critics, listen to your fans, you know, and go forward and be everything that you can be in this world. You're your own star player. There's other people that are going to want to take that energy or use you or what you got for their own personal thing, and they have no interest in your happiness in going forward, like these stories that I read, except for the Queen and the dildos. But aside from that, the other stories didn't have to do all the pub. That's kind of happiness, But people that are in relationships, and so much hinges on the wedding, on that it's not even the wedding, it's the piece of paper, So this needs to change. Unless they want to alienate so many men out there from getting married, because it's a bad deal. It's just a bad deal, especially in most states. It's a bad deal. So, and other countries, look at Canada. Canada's gone off the wall when it comes, even for people in relationships. If you're in a relationship with a woman in Canada for a year, and you break up, and I'm not talking about marriage, no kids, you break up, they want you to pay them palimony because you were in a relationship with them for a year. You're just going to make it so people don't want to be with each other, or men are going to look elsewhere, right? Or look for women that aren't like that. They're called Nawalts. Not all women are like that. There's men too, because men have their series of damn problems also, man. So I think that people in this country, United States, have lost an awful lot in the last 30 years, and we either get it back or not. It's that simple. So anyway, whatever, man. I'm going to end the show on that note. Red Pill News. I'll see you guys next week on this here show on United Public Radio Network, UPRNTalkRadio.com, 107.5 New Orleans, 104.7 past Christian. There's all kinds of ways to support the show, of course, from buying me a cup of coffee or a slice of pizza, whatever, man, or a Mercedes, whatever you got. It's good. I'm happy. I'm happy with anything, man, or nothing at all. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.